Hello, and welcome to today's SpouseLink Live. Now, this past year, you have seen me on these live streams providing support for military families that are in the process of transitioning or retiring from active military life and moving into the great beyond that comes after active duty. But I do not do what I do in a little bubble. In fact, there are other ambassadors, other SpouseLink ambassadors that are located on military bases around the world. So today you are going to meet a few of them. SpouseLink ambassadors that are working hard to support and inform and inspire active duty military families because that is the mission of SpouseLink. So we're going to be talking about just a few of our favorite moments from 2022, and I'm really excited for you to meet these other ambassadors. Thank you for joining me today on this SpouseLink live stream. If you haven't met me before, I'm Anna Larson. I am a SpouseLink ambassador. I'm also a copywriter and digital marketer by trade. I'm a homeschool mom, and I'm a retired or veteran military spouse. So as we dive into today's topic, I would love it if you would interact with us. So comment, answer questions, drop your information, tell us where you are joining us from today. We love to hear from you. We love to interact with you. It just makes the show always so much better. So before I get too far into this, I am going to introduce the other ambassadors. And instead of doing 4 different bios, because there's 4 different ambassadors here with me today, I'm just going to bring them up and I'm going to give them a chance to introduce themselves. So let's start with Sarah, then Jessica, Tara, and Gigi. Hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
If you're muted, you can unmute. This is open forum.
Hi.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's just start going around the room. Gigi, do you want to start and tell us a little bit about who you are and kind of what you do for SpouseLink?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Gigi, and I am the SpouseLink Ambassador of Camp Pendleton. And we really have a lot of fun. I mean, one of the things that I loved about starting here, because I came from the East Coast, was just right after COVID, starting craft events and just coffee events and hosting different events where we can just all kind of, build that community here. So as a new person, it was really welcoming for me here.
That's awesome. We are actually going to share your favorite craft event from, well, a couple of your favorite events from 2022. But before we do that, let me throw in Sarah and have her introduce herself.
Hi. So my story is pretty similar to Gigi's because we PCS'd around the same time. It's like the height of COVID. I remember Gigi and I were kind of panicking a little bit. But it was great to come down to such a small base. I'm here in Key West. And like Gigi said, just get the events going again, getting people together where, COVID kind of put people away and, they hid out in their homes, which was tough. So it was, it's just, one of my favorite things to do is get out there and craft.
That's awesome. Tara, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, my name is Tara Smith. I currently live here in North Carolina in Jacksonville. So we're stationed at Camp Lejeune. I've been a military spouse for about 9 years, but an ambassador for 6 years. So I love SpouseLink. It's been a community of just military spouses who are going through the same thing. We PCS around each other, and I'm one of 2 ambassadors, and I'll let her introduce herself in just a bit.
Okay, let's drop Jessica in. Jessica, say hi and tell us about yourself.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Jessica. I'm a SpouseLink ambassador, also at Camp Lejeune, like Tara. So Tara lives in Jacksonville, which is kind of like north, more central of the base, and I live closer to Wilmington, which is south of base. And the great thing about Camp Lejeune is it's huge in terms of numbers, but it's also huge in terms of a kind of geographical span. So you get different people in their kind of military walk. You have them living all around. And what I love about SpouseLink is that we just have these fun events where rank, age doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long you've been a spouse. It doesn't matter MOS of you or your husband. They aren't, the events aren't associated with units or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but all of those things kind of go out the window. It's just you coming to an event and sharing some bonds, and I think that that's really, really lovely.
I love that. Did you see Gigi giving the little heart sign? It's so true, right?
Yeah.
So Gigi just posted in our little Facebook group recently asking about a quote about community. And that's what I think like SpouseLink has brought. I mean, the whole mission of SpouseLink, right, is inform, support, and inspire military spouses. Can you guys just tell me like, just let's start with Jessica. We're going to go right back to you again, but just tell me like what that means to you, like as a SpouseLink ambassador, like being able to bring that.
I think, especially the like informed part of our mission, there are certain things my husband can come home and tell me that's going on in his unit or an event going on. It is another military spouse that's going to be the one to truly inform me and say, this is kind of the lay of the land. This is what this base is like. This is what happens during PCS. This is why you need to go check in at DEERS. This is this resource and that resource. And hey, you're moving. I actually have a friend at that other base. Let me connect you so it won't feel so lonely the second you get there. And that is, I think, like just the best part of this community.
Absolutely. I feel like we need like a hashtag truth going across right
Yeah.
now. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Like if every military spouse in the world can't just relate to that, where their spouse comes home and then tells them one thing, but then they get their real scoop from the spouse community, right? Sarah, what about you?
So for me, I truly felt the support from being a SpouseLink ambassador. By doing the events, I was able to get out and meet people that I otherwise wouldn't have. I'm about 30 minutes north of the base here in Key West. And it's a small base. It's mostly Coast Guard and a few Navy commands down here. And one of the things that came, kind of full circle for me was just having the support when I had my daughter, people offering to come take my dogs out because we were 30 minutes, away from the hospital. So I wouldn't have had that support if I wasn't an ambassador and I wasn't out there meeting people and getting other people together. Like I know other spouses that have reaped the same benefit, meeting at some of my events, and now they're friends now and they help each other out. And that's just one of the main reasons why I love what I do with SpouseLink.
I love that so much. Community is so important, especially when you go someplace new and you just feel so alone, right? Like it's like, I'm starting over again. So yeah. I love that. Tara, I'm going to throw you in the hot seat.
Okay. No, especially Anna, I like that you said like you're going into the unknown. I'm actually Canadian and I met my husband overseas. So moving here to the US, at the time we moved to 29 Palms, and it's in the middle of the desert. There's not a lot. So I was just roughing it out as a military spouse, not knowing anything. I didn't have any community or friends to come to. So I had to figure out American lifestyle and military lifestyle. And that was a huge adjustment. I didn't have the people that I needed to rely on. All my friends and family were still in Canada. So I really had to rely on my service member, and I love them for it. But military spouses really told me the truth, and they really supported me and just growing community and knowing where to plant seeds. So I love my friends that I've made, all these ambassadors that I have made friends with, and just carrying SpouseLink wherever we transition to has been awesome.
That is such a good point. I mean, when you talk about like coming from the unknown, right? Like you moved countries like for your that's kind of a big deal.
Yes.
And so countries and cultures and the whole thing all brand new for you. And I can't even imagine like that's a whole nother level of feeling out of place, right? Mm-hmm. So I love that you found community through SpouseLink. That's awesome. All right, Gigi, last but definitely not least.
Oh, thank you. I'm just going to piggyback on that support. When I married John, we had recruiting duty, and that was our very first duty station together as a married couple. And as the rep that it gets, it's really, really hard. And he moved me from being in a big city from Fort Lauderdale to a very small town called South Boston, Virginia, where I never even heard of. So Tara, you might have felt like you're coming to a new country. I felt the same way. Like it was just new territory. I had no idea. And I didn't have military spouses. It was really hard for even me to make friends. I had no support. It was the hardest 3 years of my life. And then when I moved to North Carolina, I became very like angry and just like, an old little lady, like would only peek through my window. I didn't want to talk to military spouses. And it was my neighbors and just really getting me out. Then I met Jessica, and because of SpouseLink, and it's just been so great and so rewarding to see it grow bigger and bigger. And then, the fruit from it all, from all the events that we create, and you give an opportunity to somebody else who is new and who also just peeks through their window, seeing them grow their community. And, it's such a beautiful blessing. So I really love that we can lean on SpouseLink ambassadors and our military spouses.
You bring up, okay, so when you asked about community in your post then a little bit ago, the one that came was the last deployment that we went through before we retired from active duty. And it was just one of those, like, I was over it. I was done with deployments. I was so done. And so I just was like, I'm wallowing. I'm going to shut my doors and close my blinds, and nobody's coming in my house, and I'm not going to do the dishes, and we're eating cold cereal for the next 3 days, right? Like, it was just that kind of thing. I'm like, I don't want anything here. And then it was within, like, it almost makes me want to tear up, right? Like within 24 hours, I had people dropping by my house just to check on me, friends calling. I had a random anonymous, like, little gift package of, hey, just thinking about you, know that it's a deployment day, like, that happened in a community where I didn't feel like I had any really great friends. And so, like, that just to me speaks to what all of you have said, right? Like, in terms of, like, just kind of what SpouseLink can do if people will come out and join our activities and kind of be part of the process, like really what it can build for us. So I think that's beautiful. Okay. All right. So let's jump into the events that we have. I'm going to throw up our thing. And Gigi, we're going to start with you because this is your event. Tell us a little bit about your favorite event from 2022.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite events. Obviously, I'm more of a craft, hands-on. I love doing crafts on my own, and I love teaching them. So I know there's like sip and paints parties and stuff, and so I just kind of mirrored that. Kind of wanted to have that same thing, but with our military spouses. So I hosted a party, and it's so fun to see so many of our friends who are like, oh, I'm not artsy. I'm not good. I'm not going to do, this is not the kind of party. I'm like, just come, have fun. I don't care if you draw stick figures, but just come. You're going to have a great time. And all these girls are such great. And so many of them have, like, this was a lot of Navy spouses too. So a lot of them, their husbands were underway and they were gone for months. And it was just really nice to get them out of the house, have fun, paint something that they can put somewhere. I kept joking that mine was going to go in the bathroom, but put it somewhere beautiful where they can always remember that same day of just sharing community.
I love that. Now, you gave me 2 other events. I'm going to run through them really quick just so you can tell us about them, because I really want people to see, like, the wide range of opportunities that they have when they do get involved with SpouseLink. So this one looked totally fun also.
Yes. So one of the things that we really built in my neighborhood was one of my friends. She's really one of my sweetest friends, and she's already retired or is out of the military now, but or her spouse is. We would do Friday walks. So we would walk from our neighborhood. We all meet at the basketball court and walk to the, it was called Liberty Station. So it was by the water, and then come back. And then during the season, in between that walk, they would always decorate, have pumpkins out, have Christmas trees out. So we were always able to just have the kids run around. It was a great way for us to just get out of the house, not be in that slump of, like, it's dark and don't want to look out my window, but it just kind of, had us sharing. And it's also nice because a lot of us can have individual conversations and grow that friendship too.
Yeah. Okay. We have one more for you. Oh no, this is Sarah's.
Hi, Sarah.
Never mind. We got Sarah's going on now. Sarah, tell us about this event.
Okay, so this event at the time, I didn't realize how special it was going to be to me. This event took place in 2018. And anyone who knows me and, is on my Facebook posts, I am constantly posting my daughter. She's the light of my life. And it was after this event, I had her in 2021, and I had the mermaid figurine that you see in the picture here. We were able to paint these at the Mermaid Factory when we were stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, prior to moving to Key West. And since my daughter was going to be born here in Key West, I thought, wow, like mermaid, that's perfect. That's perfect for her nursery. So I ended up doing her entire room in mermaids. It still has mermaids everywhere. She has like every mermaid shirt available on the Carter's website because I'm obsessed. And another thing about this event that makes it my absolute favorite is the lady on the far right side. Her name is Jackie. And I met her at this event, and we've become really, she's probably one of my best friends. We've continued to be friends through many moves. She's actually in Colorado right now. And she's a new mom as well. So we kind of were able to be that new mom support for each other where we don't have family here. Her family is actually overseas as well. So just that event has, it just brings so much meaning to my life now. And I didn't know it at the time, and I just love it. So
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Sarah. Okay, Jessica, tell us about your music and pizza festival.
Yeah, so that group, the three gals you're seeing there playing, they're called the Paradise Pints. And the coolest part about their band, their group, is that they are all military spouses. And the one on the left, Laura, is a dear, dear friend of mine. And so through Laura, I've been able to learn the stories of the other military spouses in the band. And they all just have this passion for music. And so they reached out to each other on a military spouse platform of, hey, I'd love to just play with some people. And so they come and perform. That venue was Unwind, this really cool wine bar right by the water here in Topsail Island in Surf City. They've also come to a little pizza place up the road that is military owned, and they play there. And I'd say it's my favorite event, obviously because I'm biased and my friend is a member, but because it's military spouses getting together to cheer on other military spouses. And I think it's a great reminder that even when life gets crazy, and Laura has 3 kiddos, the gal on the far right just had her 5th or 6th kiddo, I think. And I think it's just this great reminder that you don't need to give up your hobbies and you don't need to give up your passions, even when the military life is pretty demanding on us spouses.
Oh my God. If we can't all totally relate to that, I don't even know what, right? Okay, so I also did my favorite event from this year. And as a fairly new SpouseLink ambassador, let me just throw this up here. This was our SpouseLink retreat that we did just about a month ago. This happened to be a cooking event that we went to, but oh my gosh, I had an opportunity to meet all of these ladies in person. And let me just tell you how amazing that was. I've been a military spouse for a long time, a lot of years. And I just feel like, you meet people that come and go in and out of your lives, and then you might see them again in another base, or you find them on Facebook 4 years later and you have 79 mutual friends because you all know the same people, right? Because that's kind of how the military community works. But I really felt like at this retreat, we connected with the SpouseLink team that works with AAFMAA, or works at AAFMAA, I should say. And just like really got some amazing vision for what's going to be happening in the next year, and like all kind of like the exciting things that are available to all of the military spouses that are out there. So that was my favorite event. I'm going to drop that down. All right. So now before we say our goodbyes, I want to thank all of you guys for coming on here today. I know this isn't like something you guys do every day or twice a month like I try and do for SpouseLink, but I'm hoping that you'll just drop like what's a holiday greeting or a word of advice, like from one military spouse to another? What would you just say, like to kind of finish out your 2022 year as a SpouseLink ambassador? And I'm just going to go like in clockwise order across my screen. So Gigi, you get to start.
I was hoping that I get to start first. No, I'm kidding. Because I'm like, maybe they'll take my ideas. But no, I would say my biggest advice, definitely during this season, and something that it's very hard for me to do, is say yes to help. If a neighbor says, let me watch your child for a couple of hours so you can go Christmas shopping. Let me wash those dishes. Let me do, yes. Say yes. Say yes, say yes, say yes. Accept the help. They are just angels trying to help you ease the stress of the season.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. Tara, what would you say?
For myself, just building community again by reaching out to your spouse groups in your neighborhood, even whether you live on base or off base, there is always a military spouse around. Don't be afraid to reach out. Someone else is probably going through the same situation as you, and they're wondering, wait, should I like reach out to them? Do it. Just don't hesitate. Just really go all in, and you never know who you're going to meet, and you're going to meet a friend for life. So yeah, Christmas, it's stressful, but it doesn't have to be when you have a friend.
I love that. Okay, Sarah.
I would say, don't be guilty for celebrating the holidays if your loved one is deployed. I think it was Tara and both of our husbands were deployed one Christmas, and I almost felt like I shouldn't celebrate, but I ended up celebrating anyway with my family. And honestly, it's the best thing you can do for yourself and for your family at that time. It's just be there and be present as much as you can be.
Absolutely. All right, Jessica, give us your advice.
Turn.
Yes.
Sure. So my favorite song is called Crowded Table, if you guys haven't heard it, by the Highland Women. If you need like a good, like kind of weepy, like feel good, listen to it. But I think you just need to take this motto of embracing a crowded table, of being the one to invite people to your table and have a crowded table, and also pull up a seat at a crowded table. Mm-hmm. And when you have that motto through military life of continually finding community, and if you can't find it, then create the community, because everybody needs community. We do life better in community and sitting at crowded tables with people. So that's my 2 cents.
I love that. We do life better as a community. I think that's a beautiful, that's almost like the beautiful sentiment to end on. So I'm not even going to offer some advice because I think everybody just got 4 awesome little words of advice right there. What I do want to say though is everybody that's watching, please reach out. Okay. These are all the places that you can find your SpouseLink ambassadors at. A lot of us are on LinkedIn, or you can drop a comment on the AAFMAA or the SpouseLink LinkedIn page. We've got a website that has like blogs galore all about military life. And there's also on the website direct email links for each of the ambassadors. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. I know Gigi is super active on Instagram. And so like you leave a message, it's gonna get answered. So feel free to reach out because we want to hear from you for sure. And then with all of that, we just want to say thank you, everybody. We hope you have a very happy holiday, right? Like, I feel like we should do a little festive, like, yay, happy holidays, right?
Yeah. Happy holidays.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us for the SpouseLink live stream. This is the end of the 2022 season, but I will see everybody back here in 2023.